Hello and welcome to today. This is the very first episode in the week of the second series of my writer strategy and author strategy series that I do. Now, today I'm at Madingley Hall in Cambridge after coming all the way from Cardiff to meet Elif Shafak, one of my favourite authors of all time. Last night, proper fangirling, happens to all of us. She's just so wonderful. And as you can see, I'm in the library. Of course I am. And so I'm going to be recording today by myself. And then those of you who are watching on the replay and on YouTube, thank you so very much for joining. So I'm sorry that there are no live questions today. But I'm going to be going through everything and sharing, and then you'll have all the details, and my VA, Tai, incredible young lady, will be sending you all the details. Yeah, so here goes. Right. This is me on my own winging it. So here we go. Let me just share this. Dun, da, 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 da. Don't know why I always do the theme tune. Okay, that's present. I need Ida. Those of you who speak Arabic will know what Ida means. If I share screen, that would be better because then I can just flick to the other one. That's it. Here we go. Right. So, this is why I love books. I don't. Here you go. Right. So today, let me just move myself over there. We're going to be looking at what it's like in this series. It's called Writing on the Edge, because we're going to be looking at the sensitive topics that people want to write about, whether that's trauma, whether that is politics, whether we're writing an expose, or whether we're writing our own memoirs, or life stories or what have you, whether we're talking about client case studies that we're working on, mental health, whatever the subject that you feel is sensitive. That's what we're discussing today, because what I consider sensitive is very different to what somebody else considers sensitive. And basically, this whole series is about how to begin. Today's event is how to begin the process of writing, avoiding the overwhelm, and the ethical and the emotional aspects of writing a book that is actually going to help change the world. So, here we go. And as you can see, I'm Tom Pates, writer, author, coach, and publisher, and fan of Elif Shafak. So yes, brilliant. Thank you so much. Yeah, please, that would be great. So I've got a really nice, happy gentleman who has been making my morning, supporting me with my tech, and making sure that everything is working and I don't run out of power. Thank you so very, very much. Okay, so first of all, to make sure you have a strong network, whether that's an internet network or whether you have a lovely happy chap who is there to support you and make sure everything goes. But when you're writing about certain things, it's great for you to have a strong support network, whether that is an author coach like myself, an editor, whether that you've got a team of researchers, whether it's your faculty, whether it's your family and friends, whether it's a therapist. You need to make sure that when you're writing about these things that are sensitive to you and possibly to other people, well, if they're sensitive to you, you more likely guarantee that they're going to be sensitive to others. And so when you are doing that, you need to have the support of people in so many different ways. It has to be IT. Where is Tai today? Whether that is, like I said, you've got your team supporting you, whether that is made up of, your tech guys, your graphic designers, your typesetters, researchers. You need a team, but most importantly, you need to make sure you have your well-being team around you. And you need to make sure that whether you are, whatever it is that you're writing about, especially if it's something that you've been through yourself, that you have your team of mental health providers, emotional well-being, whether that's a coach, whether that's a therapist, whether that's a healer, whoever it is that you need. And I encourage you to make a list of those people, and actually consider some of the subjects that are going to be coming up. Is it somebody who's already written about these things, or that's already been in the press that you can ally yourself with? Is it a friend who has been through something, or knows you inside out better than you know yourself sometimes? That you can really, just say, this is what I'm going to be doing. Is it your husband or your wife or your spouse or partner, however you choose to call the person who is your soulmate? And is it your children that will come and, just say, Mummy, it's time to stop working, or Mother, if they're as old as my children? Or is it a dog, your pets? Is it the countryside around? You need to make sure that you've got that strong support network. And I would actually highly recommend that you write down all of the sensitive subjects that you're going to cover. And I would mind map around those. So you take that sensitive subject and you actually then go, okay, why is it sensitive? Why am I wanting to write about that? How is this going to help me? How has it impacted me? How is it going to impact my reader? And really then start to feel it in your body. Are you feeling it in your chest? Are you feeling it in your throat? Are you feeling it in your sacral? Are you feeling it in your body? Are you feeling it on your left side or your right side? Because all of these things matter. Because if you're feeling it on your left side, it's probably going to be your feminine energy that's going to be impacted, or something on your mother's side of the family. If you're feeling on the right, that's your masculine side, and that's going to be your father's side of the family. So those are some of the things that I would really check in with your body. If you're feeling the tightness in your chest, is it that you're grieving something? If you're feeling it in your throat, is it something that you've been wanting to say for a very long time and haven't? If you're feeling it in your lower chakras, is it something that's a trauma that you still need to release? And do you need to get some extra help there? So again, where are you feeling it? What are you feeling? Are you feeling a freedom at last? Are you feeling anxiety? Are you feeling pain, tightness? Are you feeling joy, excitement? What is it you're feeling? Because reading isn't just about the cerebral, it's about that transformation that you are going to be writing about, that transformation that you are going to be going through yourself. Because if this book does not change you, if this book does not give you transformation, how is it going to give your reader transformation? How is it going to educate your reader about the subject you're writing about? What is it you want to gain as the writer, but also what is it you want your readers to gain from it? What are those really important aspects of writing? Because writing isn't just about, getting words down on a page. It's that journey, it's that education, it's that empathy, it's that joy, it's that love, it's that acceptance. It's all of that. And it's about that freedom to write about these subjects and to challenge them. If you're writing something that's challenging a narrative or a company or a law or a political or cultural structure, you have the freedom to write, but make sure you feel that freedom. And again, are you writing it as a novel? Are you writing it as fiction? Are you writing it as a case study book, a piece of research, a thesis, nonfiction? Because these will all have an impact on the way you write and what it is that you get to write about. So again, it's very, very important for you to understand why. Excuse me if you can hear the background. I think I've sorted out all the settings so that you don't hear background noise, but fingers crossed. Okay, and again, like I said, it's when you're writing about these things, it's about that journey. It's about that transformation and that education or re-education or uneducation. And this is the thing, we have, some of us need uneducating about certain things, and we need to have our view of the world reframed. I know that from my travels around the world, having lived and worked in 44 countries now and speaking multiple languages, every country I go to, I have to unlearn what I know or think I know about the world. Every book I read either confirms or denies my entire existence. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it's that depth that you really want to be seeking for your reader. You really want them to go on that journey of discovery with you, because everything that you write about, you are going to be needing to research and make citations. And I will come on to that at the end. But again, it's like, what are the biggest takeaways that you're getting from this? What new things are you learning? Write these down. Keep a journal of all of the things that, whether it's a butcher's paper, like A1 sheet that you're keeping next to your desk, where you're writing all the different things that you've had to learn, all the areas you have to research, all of the new things about yourself that you've learned, not just the subjects that you're learning, but about yourself. What are you learning about yourself? And can you write this in the introduction for your reader or in the author's notes at the back of the book? What is it that you can gift to the author in addition to the main body of the text? Because the thing is like, are you introducing them to laws? Are you looking to introduce them to new healing modalities? Are you looking at giving them a whole new perspective on a scientific discovery? Or are you exposing a massive corporation that everybody trusts, everybody looks to? So for example, and this is probably not a very popular opinion, but for me, I really begrudge buying things from Amazon. Most people buy books from Amazon. I have to publish to those platforms. And well, I don't have to, but I know that some of the people that I'm trying to reach, they use those platforms. Do I agree with the fact that Amazon hold on to millions of pounds and dollars worth of royalties because they have these thresholds in place that small independent publishers or self-published authors have not yet hit? So Amazon are making millions in profits. Do I like the fact that Amazon destroy millions of pounds worth of products each day around the world? And no, I don't. Do I like their environmental policies and the greenwashing that goes on? No, I don't. But I also know that they are helping people who have real mental health issues such as agoraphobia. So again, what is the balance? What is it that you want people to take away from your book? What are you educating them about? Are you exposing something which you then have to handle the reader experience of that? Because are you going to put them into a state of shock? Have you been in a state of shock when you've discovered these things? Have you been in a state of anger, or resentment, or disbelief, or joy? Or, I remember reading Gavin Menzies' books, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, because lots of things I knew just didn't make sense. There was like, why is that not fitting? And then I read Gavin Menzies' books, and I was like, oh, that just makes total sense now. So again, it was such a relief. It was a joy. It was excitement. So how are you handling that? What are these biggest takeaways, and how are you backing that up? How are you giving your readers that extra level of enjoyment, or that extra level of safety, or knowing and trust? How are you helping your reader to trust you and to trust the information that you're putting in there? And once, like I said, once you've got if you're anything like me, you tend to have lots of sheets up on the wall when you're writing books. Or, some people do have lots of workbooks and, flow charts on their laptop or Excel spreadsheets. Me, I'm more tactile. I like things up on the wall and post-it notes and lots of colors, probably just to feed my stationery addiction, but that's besides the point. But what is it that you're desiring for yourself and your readers? Because remember, your reader is the number one person in this whole journey. You are the second. It's got nothing to do with the media. It's got nothing to do with the publisher. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. It's the reader and then yourself. We are synonymous together. We are caught up in this beautiful relationship with our readers. And like I said, they are the reason we write a lot of the time, because we need them to hear. We need someone to hear. We can write the book and we can have these transformations. And that is, a wonderful thing. Whether that reader is just a single person, it's somebody who we want to make clear on our life's journey. We're writing for our grandchildren. We're writing for our partner. We're writing for ourselves, the reader of this book. Because even if you write a book and you are the sole reader of the book, some many years down the line, you are still that reader-writer. You still have that reader-writer relationship. And that is so important. So yes, what are the desires? Now, as we're going through and we're writing, sometimes we get caught up in overwhelm because we're like, oh, there's just so much to write. There's just so much to share, and I'm not quite sure how I do this. And so one of the things that I recommend is you write down what could be possible chapter titles. You don't even have to write the title of the book first. Some people, they start with the title. There are some of my books, I started with the title. Some of my books, I had no idea about the title, not until after the book was finished. Sometimes I got the title halfway through the book. That's not important. What is important is you knowing what bullet points you want to cover. And then you might want to mind map those and write down the chapters. You might want to then write the bullet points underneath those chapter headings. And there are some people, like I said, that like to use spreadsheets and they like to know what everything is happening. Now, whether you're doing it as a fiction or as non-fiction or as an academic thesis, you will have key marker points and key issues that you want to develop, whether it is, for example, the character transformation or the case study and the aspects of the client journey, or whether it is a moment in time or a moment in history. It could be a moment in the future if you're writing science fiction. It could be the accumulation of two lives or two ideas coming together that was that power moment. So I want you to really make sure that you've got all of those written down, because once you start writing down the bullet points, you actually start to get rid of the overwhelm. You get the clarity, you get that inner peace. And again, I want you to check in with your body. When you've written down those bullet points, where are you feeling it in your body? Where are you feeling that release? Where are you feeling that where are you feeling tension in your body? What do you need to write to get rid of that? What do you need to do to release that? What are you needing to let go of? Because when you write those chapter titles or those bullet points, these actually might be key aspects for you to journal around. And because writing is not, those of you who have written anything, those of you who might be new to this, writing is not just about writing the paragraphs. It's not just about writing the chapters. Sometimes it can just be writing a sentence and you have to just leave it there. And sometimes you just have to step out and go, I'm just going to go and journal on this. I've been journaling this morning. What do I need to release? Or what do I need to surrender to in order to fulfill where I need to go? And again, are we needing to identify parts about ourselves that we're resisting? Maybe we're resisting our success. Maybe we're resisting letting go of people or letting go of a position. Maybe we're needing to do a bit more research in a certain area. Maybe we are looking at getting permissions from a fellow author or musician or academic. Is there somebody who can write the forward for us? So actually give us a bit more credibility, that actually can bring their own research to our book, to actually give the book an overreaching. I remember, for example, when I wrote my second book, Wallahi, about the Egyptian uprising, I had a very dear friend who I met in Egypt during that time, Mr. Robert Keston, who is the CEO of an human rights organization. And I asked him if he would write the forward, because he would bring a whole other level of credibility and learning and influence to the book. So it might be somebody like that you just need to bring them and to share their research with you and your readers. Okay. Step 4 is, again, feeling into your body. Where are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling the tension in your neck and shoulders? Are you feeling it in the middle of your back? Are you sitting comfortably? Then feel into it. I'm perched on a chair at the moment delivering this because sunshine and electrical sockets and everything. But again, where are you feeling, the nervousness, the tension, the fears, the release, the excitement, all of these emotions that are in your body, because this is actually going to be that place you write from. If you're just in your head, that's okay. That's a cerebral place to be, and that's the academic. But are you overthinking? Are you living in your head? Because remember, reading is not just a cerebral thing. Writing is not just a cerebral thing. It's a full body experience. It's a much slower way of learning. It's a much slower way of digesting everything. Slowing down. We live in a fast-paced world. We are living in a world where we're just overloaded with information, and that is why writing and reading a book, um, holding in your hands, as Lani, one of my authors, says, it's an in-hands copy. We slow down, and it's about actually breathing into that space, of actually creating that conscious space to sit, write, or sit and read and enjoy. And one of the things that I'm really going to invite you to do is actually look at the things that you're fearful of by writing this book. Write all of those down and then reframe them. So it might be, I'm afraid that I will offend my family and they will want nothing to do with me. Now reframe that into, my family are going to learn a new part about they're going to learn some new things about me. They can choose. I'm now giving them the choice to love me as I am, or to step away. You're giving them a choice to love you as you are. You are giving them the choice to learn more about you. And that can be sometimes really difficult, speaking from experience. And some of the things that you share might not actually sit well with a lot of people, but you will be surprised that the things that you share will actually bring people to you in the most unexpected, most loving, most gracious of ways. So again, what are your fears? How can you reframe them? What are your beliefs? Is it that if I write this book, I'm going to be in great danger? Okay, well, how can you reframe that? What can you do to put in place to protect yourself? If it is, I will lose my job, I will find it really difficult to get a job. How do you know? Maybe you writing this book is actually going to lead you to a much better position, much better lifestyle, and it will be freeing you from inside. Like I said, stop being in here and start being out of your head and into your bodies. What are the stories that you've created around this? And I don't just mean the stories that you're writing about. I'm about the stories, because we're meaning-making machines. And those of you who have done the landmark education, you will know what I mean by that. Any of you who have done any kind of narrative inquiry or any kind of therapy, you will know that, as humans, we make meaning of things. And sometimes those meanings are completely nonsensical. We make meaning from, our own traumas or our own experiences. What are we actually making all of this mean, and how can we reframe them into a positive, and breaking down any concerns that we have, so that we can actually write with fluidity and with confidence and with courage? What do you need to do? What do you need to let go of so that you can step into that place? I believe I mentioned this in series 1, and it's a question that I always pose to all of my clients, and I always ask myself, if I was to write this, what's the worst that can happen? What's the most likely to happen? And what's the best that can happen? And once we actually write those down, we can then choose which column, or I mean, I write them in columns, where we choose to focus our energies, because remember, where our focus goes, energy goes. So if we're focusing on the negatives, we're going to attract the negatives. If we're focusing on the positives, we're going to attract the positives. The other thing that I want you to consider is, where are you going to write your book? I'm recording this here today in the library of Madingley Hall in Cambridge. I'm surrounded by just some incredible books, and canons, and it's just so much knowledge in this room. There's so much history in this place. It's stunning. You know, this is, and the grounds are wonderful. Where are you going to write your book? Because this will actually help either inspire you, it will help you become comfortable doing what you're doing and sharing what you're sharing. It will, you know, the environment you create around you. Um, I remember when I was writing Pandora in the third book in the Sacral series, I was in a hotel in Brazil during lockdown. Absolutely wonderful. I had the hotel pretty much all to myself. I had the pool, and just beyond the hotel wall was the ocean with a really beautiful beach. And I made sure that I put myself into this hotel where I had room service and there was massaging that would come to me. And I set myself up so that I could just be away from everybody else and just know that I could get in the water and be in the water, or go for a long walk on the beach, or go for a swim in the ocean. And again, these are the self-care practices that you need. I'm going to go for a walk in the gardens before I have to go and get my train and my coach back to Cardiff. 5 hours of travel, you know, and that's why this is early today and pre-recorded. And it's like these self-care practices, how can you implement them into your daily writing practice? Are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to make sure that you've got some water? Are you going to make sure that you've got some healthy snacks? If it's something that, you know, you might want some comfort food, you might want some mashed potatoes. I love some mashed potatoes. You know, it might be that you have got what I call them my ovaries or bliss balls, dark chocolate, green energy powder, chopped nuts, and peanut butter or avocado, all ground together and rolled in coconut, absolutely delightful bites. You know, what are those self-care practices? Are you going to make yourself a lovely one pot meal? Are you doing yourself tray bake? What is it that you need? Are you taking care of your hands while you're writing? Are you having regular hand massages? Are you doing the stretches? You know, this is something, I don't know if we can share it, but like push your hands back, because our hands are always like this. We need to push them back and stretch those muscles, you know, especially these bits on our wrists. Yeah, are we doing that? I mean, some people see me do this quite a bit, and that's because I'm stretching. But then I also have to do this, and we have to stretch these muscles because these sometimes get cramped. So it's about bending them in the opposite direction. These are just lots of self-care practices. Another thing I do is I tend to give myself, before I start a new book, give myself a really beautiful manicure. Buy myself a new color of nail polish, and then I end up mixing some of them together. So again, what is it that you need to do to implement into your daily writing practice, and what environment do you need to create for yourself? Because that is also going to be part of this writing journey, and for you to feel safer, more empowered, more confident, more inspired. This is your book. You've got to do what's right for you and your reader. Now we're getting on to the ethical practices. Because sometimes when we're writing about, well, every time we're writing about sensitive subjects, we need to be thinking, okay, how is this going to land in the world? Do I need to be careful not to name certain drugs if I'm talking about, like when we were writing Debbie Debonair's book, Alive to Thrive, there were certain things in there we had to take out. So, for example, we couldn't actually talk about the different ways in which people tried to take their own life by suicide. You know, we couldn't use, for example, there is a chapter in my latest book, Owning Our Ovaries, where we're talking about endometriosis in one of the subjects, and it's like we can't mention some of the drugs, we can't mention some of the names of people. You know, you have to be very careful about the ethical practices that you're putting in place. Do you have permission to use that story? Do you have permission? Have you got your contributors to sign a release form? Have you had to sign an NDA? Have you got your contracts in place? All of these things need to be put in place, and it is a lot to think about. But if you break it down and you don't rush yourself, just make a list. Again, a list. Lists are great. Get your workflows in place. These are the ethical practices. These are my self-care. These are my environmental. These are the subjects. These are the topics. These are the transformations. Once you've got that in place, it's a lot easier. Now, when you're looking at the disclaimers for your content, are you looking at the fact that if somebody, because we're living in a world where people will sue or moan about a lot of things. So if you are writing a book, are you actually saying that you're not responsible for the mental health and well-being of the reader? We are to a certain extent, but when we're writing about sensitive subjects, we have to say, well, we're putting these books, for example, if it's about trauma, we're putting these books in the category 18 plus. We are saying on the back of the book or within the disclaimers that these books, the person reading them is buying the book, having read the blurb, and they are to take care of their own mental health and well-being. That you, as the writer, the publisher, the editor, the proofreader, you're in no way responsible for any detrimental impact that the reader has by choosing to read your book. Get your disclaimers in place. Again, is there somebody in your field of expertise or somebody whose expertise that you can borrow that can give you an endorsement? Are you having them write a piece for your book? Who is it going to support your work? Who is it that's going to write the foreword? Are you having a university publish you? Are you having somebody like myself who specializes in social impact books and sensitive topics? Do you have a big legal team to support you? Do you need one? Or do you just need some very good disclaimers and some good contracts in place? Again, all of these things that you're doing is about not only protecting yourself, but also making sure the reader knows. And this is why it's so good to make sure that you've got a blurb on the back of the book, not reviews. Nobody wants the reviews on the back. No reader I know, and I know a lot of readers, no one cares about the reviews on the back. They want a blurb. Give them the blurb. Write the detailed 350 character and 4,000 character descriptions on all the publishing platforms, whether that is Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple. Give the reader a very good description so they are making an informed choice of what they're going to experience when they read your book. Do read reviews, write about it, write an article about your book, get interviews done about your book so that people know where you're coming from. They can pick up on your energy, create, different. There are so many ways in which you can prepare the reader for what it is that they're doing. And again, when you're writing about people and you're using case studies, have you had to protect people's identities? Have you had to choose to reference something outside of the book? Have you got a website where you can actually put case law? If you're writing about legals, are you putting PDFs upon your website? Are you creating a data bank of lots of information, videos, news reports, that kind of thing? Gavin Menzies did that when he wrote his books 1421 and 1434, and he has a website that's got lots of additional evidence from linguistics, geneticists, archaeologists that are backing up all of his evidence should people try and dispute him. So again, what is it that you're putting in place, and how are you protecting those that need protecting? Whether that is through protecting their identity or protecting their safety. You've got to think about all of this when you're writing.
This up first, the dust.
Okay, the next thing would be, how are you organizing your chapters? Because if you're writing a book that's covering some very heavy subjects, are you giving the reader some respite in the middle of it? Are you going from writing something that's challenging to something that's really traumatic and harrowing? How are you balancing those chapters? Are you giving the reader a nice flow? Are you just dumping everything on them? Again, it's about you being responsible in your writing, and it's not just because of the reader, it's for you. Because if you are spending all your time in the heaviness of it, rather than in the problem, rather than stepping into the solution and what's beyond the solution, the peace and reprieve, and the tranquility of it, when you're writing it, make sure you balance, because it'd be too much for you. And if it's too much for you to write, you can guarantee it'll be too much for your reader to read. And again, it's like, who are you getting in place to actually support your emotional well-being, and how are you getting the right the right balance? Are you eating the right foods? Are you exercising? Are you spending time in the joyous moments? Because if you're writing about trauma and law and injustice and grief, you need to balance that. You need to have the joy and the laughter. And, you know, for me, I watch Michael McIntyre because sometimes I can't breathe because I'm laughing so much. And my eldest son, he said to me, Mum, I'm not quite sure whether you're crying, you're laughing, or you're dying, because I just love Michael McIntyre's dark sense of humor. Lee Evans, another great one. Ricky Gervais. Now you know a bit more. They're my three top comedians. Absolutely love them. George Carlin probably shows you some of my political views as well. But again, you've got to have that joy. You know, is it that you're going to meet a friend, going for a hike? Are you going out for a meal? Are you going to treat yourself to a new book, or four, or five, depending? You know, what is it that you're doing, and how are you balancing that? And are you giving your readers some additional reading material, or inviting them to join you? Are you inviting them to join you in your weekly newsletter or a monthly live, whether that's on Facebook or a private community that you're creating? Are you inviting them to join you at your book events? What is it that you can do to actually help give more credibility and balance and joy to some of the more sensitive subjects that you're writing? Again, well-being. We need to keep an eye on our well-being, because sometimes we're so caught up in the solitude of researching, the solitude of creating, and then the solitude of writing, that sometimes we forget to actually open ourselves up. And if you're an introvert like myself, I love being alone with books. I love being alone, walking, and, you know, my music on and just dancing. And you know, and sometimes we do have to just step outside, and even if that takes us courage, and we have to put that, you know, that, okay, I can do this. We put our makeup on, we might put a particular outfit on, we might wear a particular color, and it might take us a while to go, right, I can do this. I'm going out into the world. I can do this. If that's what you need to do, go do it. You've got to do what you need to do to bring well-being and balance to your life, so that you can remove the overwhelm. And I hope that today has been really valuable for you, and that you've learned some more. If, for example, you are wanting to dive deeper into all of the content that I've done, or if you've got any additional questions, you can book a session with me completely free of charge. And it's not a sales call. It's just one author, one writer wanting to help those who are also wanting to write and become an author. I'm giving away 45 minutes of my time to help you. And you can go to authors.youcanbook.me. We are in the process of changing these over, but they will be, you can find these on my website, dawnbates.com. And as soon as we change the authors.youcanbook.me from this platform to our new platform, the new links will be there if you're watching this on the replay. So don't worry, you will always have access to this. And you can choose the 45-minute sessions. Like I said, it's completely free. It's not a sales pitch. It's just me wanting to help you actually move ahead with what you're doing. And if you choose to, you can take up my invitation to do the 7-week author course. It's here on my website, dawnbates.com. You'll find testimonials from people who've worked with me, and there are the 7 modules there. They're all roughly around about 30 to 35 pages. There are about 4 to 5 activities in each module, and they range from actions, they range from journaling questions, tracking modules, things for you just to read. Personal stories are in there, and it's something that you do at your own pace. I say 7 weeks because the momentum that you gain from 7 weeks, and you know, once you start going through these modules are meant to be done for people who are very, very busy in their lifestyle. These are adding to your day. They're not becoming a burden on your day. So these activities can be done anywhere between 30 to an hour a day, at the beginning of your day, at the end of your day. And the thing is, it's not just about writing. This is about becoming an author. This is about you taking care of your own self. This is about you creating a vision. It's about you creating a business and a lifestyle by design that works for you, not for anybody else, because it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. This is about you and your journey as being an author. So, like I said, there's life coaching and there's business coaching, there's working on your money story, there's working on what your values and your ethics are. So this is going to help you in every area of your life. So that is available to you as well. So now I'm going to stop sharing because I've got to run and catch a train. And then catch a coach back to Cardiff. I hope that you found today really, really valuable. And if you've got any questions, like I say, either come through to authors.youcanbook.me, contact me through LinkedIn, which is linkedin.com/in/Dawn Bates, or go to my website, dawnbates.com, where you'll find, like I said, the 7-week author course, and you'll find all of my books. And yeah. Thank you very much for joining me today. Take care. Ciao, ciao.